Hi, my name is Aaron. I'm a graphic artist and I teach at a pair of junior colleges, and I also sometimes teach children, and I do these online classes. But me recording this video is actually in response to a bit of controversy that's been going on around Adobe Creative Suite and the terms of service. And one of my favorite TV shows is Black Mirror, and that's a good example of what's kind of going on. It's a really amazing, interesting series. And let me Google this real quick. And it says Black Mirror is a British anthology series on Netflix that explores the intersection of human nature and modern life through the lens of technology and media. Okay, do not watch the first episode of the series. If you start watching, do not jump to season 2 and work your way back. I tried to watch Black Mirror a number of times and just couldn't get through that first episode. It was very hard to watch. But what I want to show you is this episode right here. They're showing right here. And this is called, this episode right here called Joan is Awful. And down below, I'm not going to even try to show you this. I may snip in a little bitty clip of it, but there's a link that shows this whole scene where they talk about where this character, Joan, finds out about the terms of service that she agreed to. You know, that thing that pops up all this stuff in lawyer speak, and you just click on it and go, do you accept it? You go, do I want to sit here and read all this, or do I want to just sign it? And most people just click that sign button and never hear anything about it. Watch this if you want to get creeped out.
But the show is using my life. It's my name, it's my career, it's me. They're using me, so...
And you assign them the right to exploit all of that.
What? When?
Terms and conditions.
I have never seen this before.
You have. You just haven't seen it printed out before. All of that would have popped up on your phone or whatever when you first signed up to Streamberry, and you clicked accept.
But, I mean, I had no... How was I supposed to know this?
I know, but you did accept it, and so they're in the clear.
No. They can't do this to me.
There are only so many ways for me to tell you that they absolutely can.
So that whole Adobe thing, it is basically saying...
Adobe was like, whoa, settle down. This will calm you down. That clarification is what freaked me out. Here, I want to read some of it to you. We recently made an update to our terms of use with the goal of providing more clarity. Here's a view of what happened. We may access, view, or listen to your content through both automated and manual methods, but only in limited ways. Okay, what does that mean, only in limited ways?
The language is kind of convoluted, so it's kind of confusing. So people are kind of mixed, but there are a lot of people that are upset. So everyone is screaming, jump ship, abandon Adobe. In many cases, they're recommending free or non-subscription software. You know, the old school way where you buy a piece of software and you use that software. As long as your computer can run it, you own it and you keep using it. And they're saying, as one of the phrases that everyone is throwing around a lot right now is, trust me, bro. It's like they're saying, oh, no, we can do that, but we're not going to do that. That's not how we are going to use it. And I have some notes here. One of the things I definitely think you should check out Louis Rossman's video where he talks about it.
Our problem is not that you didn't make a blog post saying what your intentions were. Our issue is that your contract, the thing that I'm signing, says that you have the right to do that. The second thing that makes this very weak is they're using different wording in an attempt to confuse you. And that is what crisis communication always tends to do. They tend to muddy the waters by using different wording. So what does the contract say? The contract says machine learning. What they're using is the term generative AI. We never said we're going to generative AI. Look, generative AI is not in the contract. What is generative AI? And what is machine learning? Machine learning is the umbrella. Generative AI is under the umbrella, similar to how repair is the umbrella and soldering is under the umbrella. If they said we never intended to use machine learning, we could say that that is a lie because their contract says they can. So they came up with a synonym in order to use that to confuse you. That's what crisis communications do.
All right, so all right, let me get back on topic. Again, the reason I wanted to talk about this is why do I often recommend to my students, unless you are going into a career as a professional graphic artist, and even so, you might not need Adobe products. I mean, right now at the schools that I teach, we teach exclusively Adobe, but I always recommend to my students this other software. I give them a list of software that say, here's some free or cheap software, because if I was not making a living using this software, I would not pay for it. If I was a hobbyist, I would use something else. During the summer, I teach children, and I I do my best to encourage the school to teach using, like I do a digital painting class, and I like to have them do that class using a free open source software called Krita. Why Krita? Well, one, Krita has a very the learning curve is significantly easier than for digital painting than Photoshop. Photoshop has all the bells and whistles. It's chock full of so many things that it is a bit overwhelming. But the school wants to advertise we teach the industry standard software, which I understand. But my problem is, say if I have a class of 15 students, maybe 2 of them will have access to this software at home beyond that trial period. And in a lot of cases, they've already used the trial period, so they just don't have access. If they're working on something in class, they can't just go home and work on it. They're stuck with what they do in class. And I know when I was a child growing up, there's no way in the world my parents were going to pay an Adobe subscription. I mean, say if I use Photoshop, you can get by with about, I think it's around $15. I'll need to check that, per month. And if you want the entire Creative Suite, it's going to cost you about $60. But it's just not sustainable for a parent to pay the subscription for a child that may or may not be using the software. If you pick up Krita, give it to your child, and they use it and then they stop, or maybe they'll switch off to some other program that their friends are using, and that software just lies dead. It doesn't matter. But if you paid $60 a month and then you find out 6 months later that your kid hasn't been using it, you're not going to be happy. But then the other thing is, you've probably locked yourself into a year annual contract and don't even know it. Another video that I want you to take a look at, and this is by a guy called Mr. Who's the Boss. And I will leave a link for that in the comments as well. And let me see. Okay, and his video is called "The Internet is Starting to Break. Here's Why." And this is Mr. Who's the Boss. Anyway, he's really big in Europe. He's like one of these really big YouTubers, and the internet is starting to break. Here's why. But the term that he uses in the video is someone else's term, but he calls it the enshittification of the internet.
Amazon sucks right now. Uber sucks right now. Netflix sucks. Facebook sucks. Instagram sucks. Every big tech company is changing in front of our very eyes. Now, where this all gets really deceptive is the dark patterns. Basically tricks that companies employ to make you do things that you didn't mean to do.
And it's basically, he goes into how all of these companies, they rope you in, like say Uber, they started out super cheap, then they wiped out the competition, and then they jacked up the prices. He talks about how these subscriptions, how you sign up for things, and then it's really difficult to get out of them. Or you sign up for things you don't realize you're signing up to. I recently went to purchase a course on Domestika, and they have, the course was like, something really cheap, $10 or something. And then they just threw in a monthly subscription for free. I'm a skeptical person. I'm like, wait a minute. They didn't pitch it. They just threw it in my shopping cart. But they're going to have my credit card number. So it took me a while to figure out how to take it out of my shopping cart, because what basically happens is once you purchase that, you're agreeing to their terms of service, whether you read the details or not, and you will automatically be charged, or I would have automatically been charged the following month in perpetuity, I would have been charged that monthly fee to see all of their videos, which I didn't want. I just wanted to make this one simple purchase and be done with it. In one of these videos, someone in the comments said, you'll be paying for these subscriptions for the rest of your life and then some, which I 100% agree. I always tell my wife, if I die, if I get run over by a bus or I fall off a cliff taking a selfie, cancel my credit card first thing, because you'll never find all of these subscriptions or whatever that I'm forced into. You never find them. So just shut down the credit card, end it. Well, you're going to be paying for this stuff for a while. Got a little off topic. All right. So for my classes, I like to recommend, again, for my class, the digital painting, I prefer Krita over Photoshop because of the ease of use and the accessibility. So many more kids will be able to learn from this. And then the skills that you will learn from using something like Krita are transferable. There's also another software called Photopea that I like to use. During the pandemic, everything went online, and we couldn't get all the students Photoshop. And I found Photopea. Someone recommended it, and I thought, yeah, this isn't going to work. It's a total Photoshop copy. It is 100% free. With these new AI advancements and things, you don't have that. This is like Photoshop 3 years ago. People were running around talking about they want to get a lot of people talk about using Photoshop CS6 and they'll pirate a version of that. I want to sing the pirate song. A lot of people will use the software illegally, and it is so unnecessary. Photopea is there. It's 100% free. There are ads on the side. You might have to if you want to get rid of the ads, you can pay for it. But I've heard this guy has made millions of dollars already just from the ads. The only problem, it's a little bit slow. Again, I have a course on Udemy. I'll leave that in the description if anyone is interested in checking that out. You'll also find on my other channel, I also have some tutorials for Photopea if you just want to check those out. But Photopea is amazing. The only problem is it's a little bit slow because it's browser based. But if you just need to learn how to edit a photo, that's the way to go, unless you are a professional artist, professional graphic artist, and you need that consistency between your with your colleagues and things like that, or with a freelancer. But you can still do the same thing. You can still do professional work with some of these other things. But again, I would not recommend Photopea for professional level work just because it's a little slow. But I would recommend Affinity Photo. That's Affinity. I've actually not really even used the software. I probably used the software 5 minutes, but I bought a copy when it first came out. Well, maybe not when it first came out, but I'm on my second version. They just recently up to Affinity Photo 0.2, and then I had to buy again. I didn't have to, actually. I could have kept my old version and I was fine, but it's an amazing software. They have basically a version of Affinity Photo for Photoshop, Affinity Design for Adobe Illustrator, and Adobe Publisher that is a good replacement for Adobe InDesign. And again, they're one-time fee. They're about $70 each. You can get them all three together and get a bit of a discount. Or at the time that I'm actually speaking now, since Adobe made this big terms of service mistake, you can get it at 50% off. I highly recommend it. Again, I have a copy on my computer just in case Adobe causes me problems. Like once I went to teach a class. It was a one-day class at a library, and I needed to do something or demonstrate something in Photoshop. And it was only an hour class, so I didn't have a lot of time. And since I was on my laptop, I hadn't logged in a while, and I didn't have internet access, and Adobe just shut me out. It said, sorry, you need to log in order to use the software that you paid for. So it really upset me. I could have taken the time to change my password and all that kind of thing, but I think I ended up using Photopea, and that's when I upgraded to Affinity point too, because I want to have a software that is not connected to the internet, and it is a software that I own. So just be aware. Again, the bottom line is, if you are a professional and the Creative Cloud paying $60 a month is making you money, by all means buy it. But if you are a kid who's struggling to get by, there are other options. There's a ton of other options. And Brad Calbo is another YouTuber slash artist that I highly recommend checking out his videos. He does this video where he talks about what you need to know before signing up for Adobe's Creative Cloud. And that's important because they offer, and this is why I'm skeptical. Part of the reason I'm so skeptical of Adobe's practices and what they say about the terms of service is because if you can sign up for they have a couple of cheaper ones, like you have Lightroom, you have this Photoshop where you can get for about $15 a month, and then it's just everything else is $60 a month. But what they do is they also have a student discount, but the student discount is misleading. They say, okay, we're going to give you this for, I don't know, 50% off or 60% off, but at the same time, and they say it's a monthly fee. So yeah, it's cheap, but then they lock you into an annual agreement. So if you decide you want to end shut it down after, say, 6 months, you still have to pay this exit fee, which is a percentage of how many months you have left. And personally, I don't think they should be doing that to students. They should just let the student, you got one time, you sign up, you ended, sorry, you had your opportunity. But they basically trick the students. And I always tell my students, this is at the junior college level, I always tell them, never ever give Adobe your credit card, not unless you really want to pay for it, because sometimes at the school they'll have trouble getting things set up. And I always tell them, don't give them your credit card, because you might be locking yourself into something you don't know. If you are interested in hearing me talk about some more of this stuff, I'll do it. I'll come back to it. This is a new channel. I just want to get some stuff out there. I also want to try to promote some of the work that I'm doing. I highly recommend Affinity products. I don't have any courses on there. I plan on in the future, but I do not have any courses. But there's links to their website in the down below. I do have classes in Photopea, on Udemy, and Skillshare, and I have some painting course classes on Skillshare. Again, I'll include the links down below, but again, those are for courses. They'll send you there for courses that I teach, and with the Skillshare, there's probably going to be a discount. If you want to purchase one of my Udemy courses, just let me know. Put a comment, and I will send you a code that'll give you a discount. But other than that, I highly recommend getting Affinity Photo. If you use video, just look at some of these other videos. They'll give you lots of suggestions for other software that is super useful. And if you don't want to deal with Adobe, you don't have to. But if you're happy with Adobe, you're in good company. There's lots of people that use it. And again, it is the industry standard. Anyway, that's it for now. And I guess I'll hopefully see you in my next video.